Devil Fruits, the ultimate power system in One Piece, and today we're going to talk about every single Devil Fruit that has officially appeared in the series so far based on the manga. Starting with all Zoan type Devil Fruits. Now, this category of fruits allows the user to transform into an animal, granting them immense strength and stamina, and, depending on the fruit, some unique bonus abilities as well. And at number 1, we have a pretty straightforward transformation. Dalton, the king of the Sakura Kingdom, uses his Ushi Ushi no Mi model bison to turn into a bison. Kaku of CP9, on the other hand, uses his fruit to turn into a giraffe. Now, you'd think this would be a useless power, but using his long neck as a counterbalance, he actually uses this transformation to enhance his swordsmanship. Not really sure why it's categorized as a cow fruit though, but as you'll see, a few of the fruits don't really make sense. Now, what's better than turning into a cow? Well, turning into a human being. Chopper is a reindeer who ate the Hito Hito no Mi, the human fruit. Presumably, this fruit would be absolutely useless if an actual human ate it, or if the SBS is to be believed, they might gain enlightenment, but in Chopper's case, he gained the ability to walk, talk, and have human intellect. On the other hand, the former fleet admiral of the Marines, Sengoku, uses the Daibutsu fruit to transform into a giant golden Buddha, making for a very intimidating presence on the battlefield. And sticking with Japanese mythology, Onimaru is a Komagitsune, a type of mythical fox. However, this is unrelated to his devil fruit. The Onyudo fruit allows Onimaru to transform into Onyudo, a type of giant monk yokai, and like Chopper, this fruit grants Onimaru the ability to speak. And well, what do you know? We're only 6 fruits in and we've already gotten to our main character. Now, for years, Oda led us to believe that Luffy had the Gomu Gomu no Mi, but in reality, his fruit was actually the Hito Hito no Mi model Nika. This fruit, for instance, grants Luffy the powers of the sun god Nika, nicknamed the Toon Force by the fandom, which are seemingly only limited by Luffy's own imagination, bending reality to his will. And the most powerful human type devil fruit is of course none other than the subscriber no Mi, eaten by you, dear viewer, after you destroy the subscribe button below this video. Next, we have all the birds. Pell, one of Princess Vivi's guardians in Alabasta, can transform into a falcon, allowing for super fast flight. His hybrid form makes Pell look like Horus, the falcon-headed god of Egyptian mythology. The jury's still out on whether falcons can actually withstand nuclear weapons though, like Pell apparently did at the end of the Alabasta arc. One of the coolest fruits in the entire series is Marco's Phoenix fruit. Whitebeard's 1st Division Commander Marco is also the doctor of the crew, which works fantastically because the Phoenix fruit flames allow him to heal himself and others. And interestingly enough, for some reason, Big News Morgans, who always keeps up his hybrid albatross form, cannot fly. Ironic, given that the real-world albatross are known for their extremely long flights across the sea. So good thing he has those news coups to deliver the papers for him. Moving on to men's best friend and all the doggos, starting with Lasso of Baroque Works, who is not a dog who ate a cannon fruit. He's actually a cannon who was fed the Ino Ino no Mi model Dachshund. This character was actually the very first instance of learning that inanimate objects like a cannon could be fed devil fruits. Chaka is the other Zoan guardian of Alabasta. His Chakal hybrid form makes him look like the Egyptian god Anubis, who also has a Chakal for a head. Jabra of ZP9 uses his devil fruit to transform into a giant powerful wolf. In addition, he loves using trickery and storytelling to try and fool his victims, calling upon the many fairy tales which feature a big bad wolf, such as the 3 Little Piggies or Little Red Riding Hood. And we have yet another inanimate object with a devil fruit. Bambuku is a teapot who ate a tanuki fruit. Katarina Devon is one of Blackbeard's crewmates, and with her Kitsune mythical Zoan fruit, she can transform her appearance to appear as any other person she wants to. Pretty convenient. Meanwhile, Yamato Kaido-san has a mythical wolf Zoan fruit that transforms them into the Okochi no Makami, the protector deity of Wano, who also possesses ice-based powers. And it really looks just stunning. And of course, after dogs, we have to talk about cats. Lucci, the powerhouse of ZP9, uses his leopard transformation to gain immense strength, dexterity, and agility. Meanwhile, Who's Who, a former member of ZP9, fits right in with the Beast Pirates with his saber-toothed tiger Zoan. Like many of his crewmates, his ancient devil fruit is based on an already extinct animal. Which now brings us to 2 elephant fruits. Yet another inanimate object with a devil fruit power is Fang Fried, a sword who can transform into an extremely cute looking elephant. I mean, Just look at those eyes. And really, on the complete opposite side of the cuteness spectrum is Jack, one of Kaido's all-stars, who is a fishman who has eaten the mammoth devil fruit. Not so cute. And for some people, this next one is definitely the best category of animals to turn into: dinosaurs. Now don't get it twisted, Drake here is not a T-Rex, he's an Allosaurus, and according to paleontologists, those are two very different dinosaurs. Interestingly enough, like all of the other dinosaur fruits to come on this list, this fruit is categorized as the Ryu fruit, which means dragon, not dinosaur. Page 1 Spinosaurus fruit is yet another powerful dinosaur transformation from one of the Tobiropo. The Pteranodon fruit of the All-Star King is modeled after a flying dinosaur significantly larger than the pterodactyl. Now, the most significant power that King's fruit gives him is flight. However, Oda's mastery of biology teaches us that they are also able to use their large crests and beaks in a slingshot effect to utilize ranged attack as well, apparently. Meanwhile, Queen, the last of Kaido's commanders we're covering, has a Brachiosaurus fruit, and yet again, we got a science lesson from Oda that states that Brachiosauruses can apparently launch their long necks and tail from the rest of their body to become a sort of snake-like creature. And the manga makes this very clear that this is not one of Queen's many cybernetic enhancements, but a natural-born ability of Brachiosauruses. So I guess learned something new here? Then we have Ulti, one of the Flying Six, who has a very fitting dinosaur Zoan transformation as well. The Pachycephalosaurus literally means thick-headed lizard, boasting a skull several times thicker than any other dinosaur. Makes sense for the most stubborn and hard-headed of Kaido's crew, I guess. And the last of our dinosaur fruits is Sasaki's model Triceratops. And during Frankie's fight against the Flying Six, we get yet another paleontology lesson when we learn that Triceratops frills can actually spin around like a propeller, enabling them to fly? Which brings me to snakes, also reptiles and also quite terrifying. Here we have Marigold's King Cobra fruit as well as Sandersonia's Anaconda fruit. Both of these boa sisters have snake transformations, which is very fitting for siblings based on the famous Gorgon sisters of Greek mythology. And yet another Hebi no Mi model from mythology is the Orochi fruit held by, well, Orochi. This member of the Kurozumi clan really lucked out on finding a devil fruit that shared his literal name. This one allows him to transform into the 8-headed snake, the Yamato no Orochi. Its bonus effect is that all of his heads have to be removed for him to be killed, which did lead to not 1 but 9 very satisfying decapitations in the Wano arc. This here is Smiley, a weaponized gas cloud given life in form of an axolotl. Upon its destruction, we learned that a devil fruit reincarnates into another normal fruit nearby upon its user's death. And interestingly enough, there are only 3 insect devil fruits in One Piece so far. Mushi is Japanese for bug, and these 2 bug fruits are owned by warriors of the Tontada. First off is Kabu with the Kabuto fruit, and then Bian with the Hornet fruit. Oh, and yeah, this one is very ironic because Kaido's actual dragon fruit is not a dragon fruit, but an uo fruit, a fish fruit. His fruit is derived from the Japanese myth of a carp jumping over a waterfall to transform into a dragon. Think the Magikarp to Gyarados transformation from Pokemon. Seiryu, or the Azure Dragon, is also one of the 4 sacred beasts of Chinese astrology, joined by the White Tiger, the Red Phoenix, and the Black Tortoise. This is the 3rd insect fruit. Black Maria seems to have more in common with the Black Widow spider really than the Grauvogel one. However, the Grauvogel is an ancient extinct spider, which makes this fruit fit in a lot better with the other already extinct creatures of the Beast Pirates. The rest of our zone fruits here are single model fruits that have only a single member, or the actual fruit names are still unknown. Starting off the list is Miss Merry Christmas of Baroque Works, who can transform into a mole. Then we have Pierre, a large pink bird who ate a horse fruit. This enables Pierre to transform into an approximation of a Pegasus. Peckums is a lion mink who can transform into a turtle. Hell yeah. Baron Tamago has one of the more interesting zone devil fruits. He begins as an egg, not like Dr. Robotnik, just a man in a shell, I guess. However, he can transform into a fully developed egg and become a full-blown chicken. The Impel Down jailers all have what are referred to as awakened weakened zones. They end up losing their higher functions and turn into simple-minded rampaging beasts with immense strength. They are a Minotaur, presumably with another cow devil fruit, a koala, a rhino, and a zebra. And these 4 are actually contenders for the very first awakened devil fruits that we ever get to see in the series, unless we count Chopper's Monster Point, which is currently unconfirmed as a devil fruit awakening. Oh, by the way, did I say 3 insects? Well, I did lie. There are 2 more actually. Vice Admiral Onigumo of the Marines has an unknown devil fruit that allows him to grow several spider-like arms. And his name is also the Japanese name of a variety of spiders. Meanwhile, Vice Admiral Dalmatian also has a very on-the-nose name, as his current unnamed devil fruit allows him to transform into a Dalmatian. And the last insect fruit that also appears during the Marineford War is Epoida, an ally of Whitebeard who can transform into a caterpillar with this unnamed Zoan devil fruit. Then, in a cover story detailing what happened in Impel Down after the prison break, we meet the newest jailer, an adorable Mino Chihuahua. And the latest Zoan devil fruit that we've gotten is Stronger, Doc Q's horse who ate a Pegasus mythical Zoan to gain wings. I'm gonna guess that he'd get along pretty great with Pierre, the other Pegasus in the series. And wow, that is all of the Zoans in the series, but we are just getting started. Because up next is the Logia category. Now, these fruits allow users to turn into an element as well as generate seemingly limitless amounts of it. And the very first Logia that we meet in the series was Smoker, the White Hunter, a prominent marine and rival to Luffy. As his name suggests, he is able to turn into smoke, and really he was the perfect first opponent to demonstrate this incredibly useful devil fruit power. Meanwhile, the first warlord that the Straw Hats faced off against was Crocodile, owner of the Sand Logia. Not only could Crocodile use his sand to release powerful attacks like Espada, but he also had the ability to drain the moisture out of anything, rendering his opponents into dry husks. However, Luffy found that Crocodile was weak to water, and by drenching his hands, he could actually land blows against the warlord. Luffy's brother Ace wielded the Flame fruit, or the Mera Mera no Mi. Now, this fruit was a major plot point in Dressrosa when Doflamingo offered it as a prize in the Colosseum to bait Luffy. In this tournament, Luffy and Ace's other brother Sabo finally ended up claiming the fruit. Meanwhile, Enel has one of the most powerful Logia fruits we've ever seen in a series. In addition to the usual lightning-based powers, we see him striking from an extremely long range, using his electricity to power technology, manipulate metals, and even restart his own heart. It was just a little bit unfortunate for him that a rubbery man ended up showing up in Skypiea. Kuzan's ice fruit is one of the few devil fruits we've seen that can clearly impact seawater, despite the sea being a devil fruit user's weakness. By freezing the surface of the ocean, he's able to bicycle from island to island, pretty convenient. He can also freeze opponents inside and out, and they can be shattered to pieces if not carefully heated up. Blackbeard, meanwhile, has one of the most unusual Logias, to the point where we're wondering if it's not actually a Zoan fruit, the Yami Yami no Mi, or the Darkness fruit. Rather than his body turning into darkness, he can suck matter into a black hole. Blackbeard is also a lot more vulnerable to pain and can nullify the fruit powers of other devil fruit users that he touches. Borsalino, another marine admiral, uses the Pika Pika no Mi, the light Logia fruit. Using his devil fruit, he can deliver light speed kicks and fly from island to island faster than any ship can actually travel. Dr. Vegapunk also used this fruit as the basis for developing the Pacifista's beam lasers. And Sakazuki, the current fleet admiral, wields the Magma fruit. Its immense power burns much hotter than the fire fruit, which made it possible for him to kill Ace during the Marineford War. This is one of the most offensively powerful fruits in the entire series. Oh, and then we have Caribou, another very unique Logia fruit user like Blackbeard, whose fruit doesn't allow the typical Logia rules. His swamp doesn't seem to be able to generate limitless amounts of muck, but he does have a seemingly limitless storage inside of himself. Inside of this swampy pocket dimension, he can store plenty of meat or even mermaids. Caesar Clown's Gas fruit has dominion over an entire state of matter. He's able to create various gases, usually poisonous ones, but he can also remove the oxygen in a given area to suffocate opponents. Monet, a member of the Doflamingo family, has a Snow fruit. This is a fairly straightforward Logia power. After Monet's apparent death, we haven't seen a new Snow user appear quite yet. One of the Marine's newest admirals, Aramaki, showed monstrous strength with his Forest Logia fruit. He dominated dominated the remnants of Kaido's crew and also held the scabbards at bay until interference from Shanks. With his fruit, he can fly long distances on a flower, sap the strength from opponents, and summon a practical army of plants to fight for him. Which now brings us to the Paramecia category of devil fruits that includes, well, everything else. This is a mixed bag of powers that are left up to Oda Sensei's imagination, but usually fall into two types of categories. There are Paramecias which manipulate the user's body in some way, or Paramecia fruits that manipulate the environment or other people in some way. Starting with Buggy, who was the very first devil fruit user that we met in the series beside Luffy. And now that we know that Luffy actually has a mythical zone fruit, Buggy is technically the very first Paramecia user that we ever get to meet. His Chop Chop fruit allows him to disassemble his body at will. This makes him immune to cutting attacks. His separated body parts are also able to fly, provided that his feet are staying on the ground. The 𝙻𝚎𝚐𝚐𝚗𝚍 no Mi makes Alvida's body extremely smooth and slippery. Attacks simply slide off of this ally of Buggy's. Mr. 5 of Baroque Works can turn any part of his body into a bomb. He usually uses boogers, but for an advanced technique, he can also breathe into the chambers of a revolver for long-distance explosive shots. Miss Valentine can use her Kilo fruit to alter her own weight for up to 10,000 kilograms. She can make herself lightweight to float in the air on her umbrella, or increase her weight to dive bomb on opponents. Next, we have a Straw Hat. Nico Robin's Hana no Mi, while being named the flower fruit, doesn't have much to do with the actual flower. Instead, she blooms or blossoms parts of her body anywhere she chooses to. So pre-time skip, she'd usually sprout arms on her opponents and break their backs with her clutch technique. However, after the time skip, she's demonstrated the ability to create clones of herself, make giant limbs, and even undergo her demonio transformation. Mr. 3 or Galdino uses the Wax fruit to generate huge quantities of wax. The most utility that this has seen in the series is through making keys, as well as making venom-resistant armor for Luffy during Impel Down. Now, Wapol's fruit is pretty weird. The Munch fruit allows him to eat anything and then incorporate the material into his own body. He does this with stone and metal to fortify himself, and more horrifyingly, eats his own subordinates to combine them into one super henchman. Mr. 2's copy ability allows him to transform his appearance into that of anyone that he's touched with his right hand, making him a master of deception. At the same time, Mr. 1 uses his Dice fruit to turn any part of his body into blades. This of course made him the perfect opponent for Zoro, who had to learn how to cut steel in order to defeat Das Bones. Miss Doublefinger's Spike fruit allows sharp spikes to protrude from any part of her body. Iron Cage Hina's epithet is very fitting as well. Her Ori no Mi or Bind fruit lets her conjure black iron bars to trap criminals. Bellamy's Spring fruit allows him to turn his limbs into springs, which gives him the ability to bounce super quickly around the battlefield. Doflamingo's String fruit is one of the most versatile devil fruits we've seen in the entire series. Doflamingo is an example of a character who truly mastered his devil fruit powers. He could use his strings to manipulate people like puppets, to create clones for himself, to stitch up injuries to his internal organs, and that is just the start of it. Because this is not getting into super OP techniques like the birdcage. In addition, the Ito no Mi was the first example we saw of a Paramecia fruit awakening, which allowed Doflamingo to turn his environment into strings as well. Foxy's Noro no Mi allowed him to fire a beam that slows down anything it touches, which even though looked goofy, actually kinda powerful. Bruno of ZP9 is able to make a door on any surface and escape to a sort of pocket dimension. This of course makes him a great asset as a Cypher Pole agent, as he's easily able to get around undetected and flee a scene unnoticed. Khalifa, another agent of CP9, was given a Bubble Devil fruit by Spandam that, among other things, can make her opponents extra squeaky clean. Captain Very Good's Berry fruit can turn him into balls. Captain Shu's Rust fruit can cause metallic items to rust very quickly, to the detriment of Zoro's sword, and Captain Shiringuru's Wheels fruit lets him turn his arms and legs into wheels. We also have Perona's Hollow fruit that allows her to summon ghosts called negative hollows, which make anyone they pass through negative. Plus, she can also leave her body to float around in her spirit form, which is very convenient. Kinda similar to that, Brook's Revive fruit brought him back to life as a skeleton after his death. For a long time, that seemed to be its only power, but now he's gained the power to manipulate his soul, the soul of others, and summon ice powers from the depth of hell, which pretty badass. And sticking with the spooky theme, the former warlord Gecko Moria used his shadow fruit to separate people's shadows from their bodies and then place them inside zombies that are under his control. The clear fruit that was first owned by Absalon and now by Shiryu allows the user to turn invisible. And Bartholomew Kuma's Nikyu no Mi or Paw fruit allows him to repel anything, whether that's an attack, a person, or even an intangible concept like pain. And he can then use it to transmit people at high speeds all across the world. Luffy's rival Eustace Kid, meanwhile, has the power of magnetism, allowing him to manipulate any type of metal. For example, after losing his arm, he uses his fruit to create a metallic replacement. With his Devil Fruit Awakening, he can also make his opponents magnetic as well. And Luffy's other rival, Trafalgar Law, has the Ope no Mi, which lets him create a room in which he can then manipulate just about anything. He can remove people's body parts, their hearts, swap their personalities, trade places with objects, and attack opponents internally. This fruit also has a special ability to grant someone eternal life at the cost of the user's life with the so-called immortality surgery. Meanwhile, Capone Beige's Castle Fruit turns him into a castleman. He can shrink down his entire crew, who can then act as an army inside of him, as well as transform into a full-size castle with tank treads. Basil Hawkins' Straw fruit lets him use straw creatures as voodoo dolls connected to other people's life force, allowing damage done to himself to be inflicted on other targets. At the same time, Scratchman Apu's Tone fruit has the power to transform his body parts into musical instruments. Anyone who can hear his music can be harmed by his sound waves. Then we have Boa Hancock's Love fruit, which allows her to turn anyone who's attracted to her into stone. One of the most badass Paramecia fruits is probably that of former Warden of Impel Down, Magellan, who has the Venom fruit, which is a super interesting Paramecia. It's very similar to a Logia that he can conjure seemingly limitless amounts of toxic goo, but he can't turn himself into it. It does have a terrible side effect too though, of giving him terrible stomach problems. Staying in Impel Down, Emporio Ivankov's Hormone Devil Fruit allows them to use hormones to do all sorts of things really. The most common usages of this fruit are to change their own sex or that of others, or give an adrenaline boost to those that need it so they can overcome fatigue and keep fighting. Inazuma, also from the Revolutionary Army, has the Snip fruit that allows them to transform their arms into scissors that can basically cut anything. Oh, and then we have the Quake fruit, first owned by Whitebeard and then Blackbeard, which is said to be a fruit with the power to destroy the world. Because this fruit creates powerful earthquakes, but its power can also be used locally to the user's fist for an earth-shattering punch. Jozu earned his nickname with his Devil Fruit, which allows him to turn his entire body into diamonds. And another Whitebeard ally who only appeared very briefly, Blamenko, uses a Pocket fruit to develop pockets all across his body. On the marine side, Vice Admiral Tsuru has one of the weirdest devil fruits in the entire series. Her Wash fruit allows her to literally clean evil away from someone. So she can wash her opponents, leave them out to dry, and people affected by her ability fold like clothing and get strung up on a clothesline. Next we have Shiki the Golden Lion, who may not have appeared in the One Piece timeline so far, but he and his fruit are both canon despite mostly appearing in the movie Strong World. His Fua no Mi allows him to levitate himself as well as any other non-living object. At the same time, the Fishman Fender Decken also has a peculiar devil fruit as well. His Mark fruit allows him to mark someone with his hand, and from that point on, any object that he touches or throws with that hand will seek the target until it hits them or an obstacle. Kinda scary. Kinemon's Garb fruit, meanwhile, is a lot more fun. It allows him to make clothing. It's pretty much perfect for disguising people. However, it would be nice if he had people to disguise who would last more than 5 minutes without blowing their cover. Oh yeah, Sugar. This Doflamingo family member has by far one of the most broken and OP fruits in the entire series. You see, Sugar can turn anyone she touches into a living toy with her hobby fruit. She can then create a contract with this toy that they are powerless to disobey. And finally, and this is where it gets OP and also kinda scary, everyone immediately forgets that the person turned into a toy ever existed in the first place. Baby 5, another Doflamingo family member, can turn any part of her body into any weapon she chooses with her arms fruit. Presumably because turning them into actual arms was already taken by Robin. Buffalo's spin fruit allows him to spin any part of his body like a propeller, which he then uses to fly. And as you'll notice, we're really just getting started on the Don Quixote family fruits as well. His crew has a lot of devil fruit users. Treble, the grossest character in One Piece I think, is such a low quality individual that his devil fruit name in Japanese is literally the beta no mi. This translates literally into the sticky fruit, which produces massive quantities of this sticky mucus. He can use it as projectiles and even worse, a cloak made out of it to give the appearance of a much larger person than he actually is. And this mucus is also extremely flammable. Next up we have Admiral Fujitora, who has a gravity devil fruit powerful enough to rain down meteors on his opponents. Bartolomeo can cross his fingers to create powerful barriers, which he can also send flying for an offensive assault as well. He can also manipulate the shapes of this barrier to create things such as staircases or surround his fist with it for an extra hard punch. Leo from the Tontadas has the Stitch fruit, which allows him to saw just about anything. Viola's Glare fruit allows her to see amazing distances and even through walls. And quite confusingly, she can also fire giant projectile whales from her eyes. Jolla's Art fruit lets her transform things into works of art. Often, her works will resemble famous art pieces from the real world, such as Brooke turning into Edvard Munch's The Scream. Oh yeah, and the Jacket fruit is one of the weirdest and probably worst fruits in the entire series, because it allows someone to literally wear the user like a jacket, at which point the user can then pilot their body, which, oof. Gladius's Pop fruit allows him to expand and rupture any part of his body in an explosion, which leaves himself unharmed. He can also cause inorganic objects he touches to explode as well. Now his power is very similar to the Bomb fruit with some minor differences. Senor Pink, the most hard-boiled member of the Doflamingo family, uses the Swim fruit to swim through matter as if it were water. Interestingly enough, this power is now used by the Seraphim modeled after Jinbei. And speaking of powers very similar to those of the Baroque work members, the Tauntaun fruit is extremely similar to Miss Valentine's Kilo fruit. The only difference here is it can increase its weight far beyond Miss Valentine's 10,000 kilo limits. Another executive of the Don Quixote family, Diamante, uses the Ripple fruit to make any object or himself ripple like a flag. Meanwhile, Pika uses the Stone fruit to melt his body into any stone structure and manipulate it freely. Depending on how much stone he has available, he can basically become an entire island, absolutely massive, hiding his real body within the stone. And so during Dressrosa, he uses this power to dramatically shift the landscape of an entire island as well. And next we have a very OP fruit, because Kanjuro's Brush fruit allows anything he draws to come to life. Rip Ryonosuke, you were a real one. Doflamingo's brother Rosinante has the Nagi no Mi, or the Calm fruit. This allows him to create a bubble of complete silence where nothing can be heard. Now this seems like it wouldn't have much utility, but as Law's flashback showed us, it can be fantastic for stealth. And the ability of the Tontada Princess Mon Chérie, the Heal fruit, is one of the only powers in the entire story that can actually heal any physical injury. Then we have Big Mom's Soul fruit that has to be one of the most intriguing fruits in the entire series. With it, she can cut parts of a soul into an inanimate object to bring it to life as a so-called homie. And she can not only do that for herself, but also for other people. So the citizens of her kingdom willingly give part of their lifespan to her in exchange for the Yonko's protection. But she can also take it forcefully from anyone who's afraid of her. Meanwhile, Brulee's Mirror fruit lets her travel through a mirror world, a sort of parallel dimension that connects seemingly to every mirror in the world. Other people can also travel into the mirror world, provided that they're touching Brulee. She can also use her mirror powers to turn into a mirror image of an opponent, as well as to reflect attacks. Perospero, Big Mom's eldest son, uses his candy fruit to create and manipulate candy into any shape he desires. can be a gooey and syrupy one, or it can be hardened. Next, Cracker, one of Big Mom's sweet commanders, uses his biscuit fruit to create super hard biscuit soldiers. He can control an entire army of them as well as wear them as armor. Galette's butterfruit, well, you guessed it, lets her conjure and manipulate butter. Mondor is one of the rare Big Mom crew members whose power doesn't involve food, by the way. His Baku Baku no Mi allows him to control books, and this manifests in a lot of different ways. He can fly by standing on floating books, but he can also trap enemies inside story-based illusions, as well as imprison and preserve people and objects within the pages of his books. And now we come back to all the food. Opora's fruit is a lot like Galette's, but with cream instead of butter. Smoothie, another sweet commander, has the Ring fruit, which allows her to juice just about anything, including giraffes. Pudding's Memo no Mi allows her to freely manipulate memories. When she uses her powers, people's memories will appear like film reels, which she can then cut and edit. Katakuri, of course, made the perfect opponent for Luffy during Whole Cake Island because his Mochi fruit shares a lot of similarities to rubber. Mochi, too, is stretchy, but it could also do a whole lot of things that Luffy's body couldn't, since he was able to generate large quantities of mochi. And unlike other Paramecias, Katakuri can also change his body into mochi, making his fruit a special Paramecia, one with the properties of a Logia fruit. The key difference here seems to be that mochi is a man-made object rather than a naturally occurring element, really. Daifku's Hoya Hoya no Mi, or Puff Puff fruit, lets him rub his tummy to summon a powerful halberd-wielding genie to fight for him. Charlotte Oven uses his Heat fruit to heat up his own body. Through touch, he can then transfer the heat to opponents or objects. Just like Aokiji, Oven has one of those rare fruits that have been seen to directly affect the sea when he boiled part of the ocean to attack the Sun Pirates. Streusen ate the Cook fruit and is able to turn any inanimate object into edible food. Charlotte Nushi can combine with his siblings using his Fuse fruit. Which now brings us to the Revolutionary Army. Now, Morley of the Revolutionaries uses the Oshi no Mi, or Push fruit, to push or mold the ground as if it were made of clay. Bello Betty's Pum fruit encourages and rallies other people to awaken their full potential to fight. A perfect power for a revolutionary. And we're already at Wano. Otama's Kibi no Mi allows her to pull dango from her cheeks, and when she feeds that to an animal, they make that animal completely loyal to Tama's command for 1 month. This power notably also works on Smile Devil Fruit users. This power is largely inspired by the Momotaro myth, of course, wherein the hero feeds Kibi dango to 3 animals that then help him on his quest. Kuzuki Odin's wife Toki traveled to the present day from the Void Century using the powers of her Time fruit. This incredibly powerful devil fruit allows her to travel in time, but only forward into the future. And most importantly, she can also send other people into the future as well. Shinobu's Ripe fruit allows her to age objects or even people, such as with Momonosuke. However, she's unable to reverse that effect. Raizo, the ninja, uses his Scroll fruit to contain matter or energy within a scroll and then release it at will. He has been seen to do this with huge amount of water and even Kaido's Boro breath. And then Blackbeard's crewmates recently have revealed some very new devil fruit powers too. However, not much is known about their full capabilities just yet. Jesus Burge's muscle fruit seems to give him immense physical strength. We see him lifting an entire mountain. Blackbeard Sniper Von Augur can use the Warp fruit to teleport himself or other objects. Doc Q uses a disease fruit to spread illness, or in the Hard Pirates case, to spread mass sex changes due to a pun on the words malady and milady. Get it? And the most recent devil fruit revealed as of this writing is Vegapunk's brain fruit, which lets him store an unlimited amount of knowledge inside of an ever-growing brain. In fact, his brain has grown so large that he had to house it outside of his body. However, we're still not done, because there are a handful of powers that we know come from devil fruits, but we still haven't gotten confirmation on the fruit's name. For example, Jewelry Bonnie's fruit allows her to manipulate the ages of herself and others. And I mean, we're likely to get a reveal for her fruit very soon. Another supernova, Oruch, uses an unnamed devil fruit to convert physical damage on himself into raw strength. Sancho and Wolf, a giant of Blackbeard's crew, has a fruit that seems to grow his body size even more than it already has. And Lafitte also has an unknown devil fruit that is likely the source of his wings. Karasu, the revolutionary, also has an unnamed devil fruit, because unlike a zone transformation that allows him to turn into one big raven, he can turn into an entire flock of ravens that can also be separated and communicate. And then we have Uta. Unlike other One Piece movie characters like Gold Tesoro or Douglas Bullet, Uta has been confirmed as a canon character, well, sort of. And that includes her devil fruit then, the Sing Sing fruit. Using her voice, Uta can lull people asleep and bring them into an illusory world that is under her control. Incredibly OP. And there you have it, all 146 devil fruits featured in One Piece so far. But if you want to know which devil fruits are actually the best ones, well, you can check out this video right here.